we can start. I would like to welcome everybody to this panel. This is Oriette Nail, IBM MIA Skills Initiatives Leader for Africa. I would like to welcome you all today to the panel, Bridging Gender Digital Divide in Ethiopia, as part of IBM Middle East and Africa celebrations for the Women's History Month. We have four inspirational speakers that will walk us through strategies to address the digital literacy and inclusive digital economy through multi-stakeholder partnerships. All these partnerships aim to accelerate the digital transformation in the region. So please join me in welcoming our speakers. We have from IBM, Caroline Makiira, General Manager and Technology Leader for IBM East Africa. Hello, Caroline. And we have from UNCDF, Jane Jamieson, Digital Transformation and Strategic Alliances Executive and Senior Strategy Advisor for UNCDF. Hi, Jane. And we have Dr. Abiyot, Bayou, Director of the Digital Transformation Program for Ethiopia Ministry of Innovation and Technology. Hello, Dr. Abiyot. And we have, of course, Samiya, Abdulkadir, Godu, Founder and President of Ethiopian Youth Entrepreneurs Association. So before we start the panel, let us first kick off by Justina Nixon, our VP and Global Head for IBM Corporate Social Responsibility, highlighting IBM Global CSR strategy of cross-sector partnerships to deliver career readiness. Justina will also highlight the significance of women as the multiplier factor in an inclusive digital economy. So let me, because Justina, of course, her schedule is really tight, so we had a recording. I will just run the recording now. Let me share my screen.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure and a privilege to join you here today. First, I'd like to extend my warm congratulations to the Ministry of Innovation and Technology in Ethiopia for leading the first implementation of our program from IBM and UNCDF to make STEM and business education more readily available. And kudos to Uganda, Rwanda, and Zambia for their own implementations. Thank you to UNCDF and all the local partners for making this possible. Today, during Women's History Month, I think it's important to recognize how far we've come, to celebrate progress, and examine how we can do more. In my role, I have the honor to speak at many events like this all over the world with leaders who are driving real progress in education. These often include groups that have been historically excluded from the conversation. That work is so important and so inspirational, both personally and professionally. Personally, I am inspired to see us grow together as lifelong students, and I encourage others to do the same. I use the term lifelong students because it's one of the most important jobs we'll ever perform. It doesn't matter how many degrees we might have, or how many years we spent in school, or how fancy our professional title is. And it doesn't matter whether we're busy raising a family or busy at work, or we are doing both at the same time. We are lifelong students because we're curious. We want to improve ourselves, our families, and our communities. Now, turning to professional side, everyone here today knows that the jobs of tomorrow require us to be lifelong students. That is truly the reason we are here. Technology is moving so rapidly that it's almost impossible to succeed in life if we don't keep current. We want to create first-rate education and job opportunities for students and entrepreneurs. Let's talk about the important link between STEM and entrepreneurship. All jobs touch tech in some way. Technology is changing the nature of work and is expected to create 97 million new jobs in the next few years. By 2030, 75% of the continent's population will be under the age of 35. Some of the world's best ideas haven't even been conceived yet. Because we're celebrating International Women's Day, let's also talk about the opportunity to develop education for women. Because women act as a force multiplier in society. Women bring benefits to the world of business and to their communities. For instance, women invest about 90% of their earnings back into their community. Female entrepreneurs also have a good track record of loan repayment. And the IMF correlates gender equality with economic growth. STEM and business training for women is critical globally. I think this is as true in Africa as anywhere else. How do we do this in practice? One answer is public-private partnerships. This is not sustainable if it's just one company or government agency. This requires partnerships that embody the spirit of Ubuntu, cooperation, and humanity. Each stakeholder brings a different skill to a project. Here in Africa, they say that wisdom is like the trunk of a baobab tree. It is too big for just one individual to embrace. I think the same applies to any ambitious project. We need to work together to be successful. So where do we go from here? If you are a student or just starting a new career, my advice to you is to set out to learn as much as you can, whether through school, reading, finding a mentor, or an online learning program like IBM's Skills Build, which you'll hear more and more about. If you're an established professional, then reach out to young colleagues and offer to be a sounding board and support system for them. Are you a nonprofit, a company, an NGO, or a government agency? Then consider teaming up with IBM. We are eager to partner with you. Organizations from many sectors need to be a part of the process. At IBM, we have a global plan to provide 30 million people with new skills needed for the jobs of tomorrow by 2030. We are thrilled to work with partners to take action. So during this month, celebrating women's history, let's make a little history of our own. Think about what you can do to lift women up. In closing, I'll say this. A generation ago, when people earned degrees and learned on the job, they typically didn't expect to learn continuously. These days, lifelong learning is one of the keys to creating a more sustainable, healthy, and inclusive future. It is a new human right. With all the hard work that everyone here is doing, we're going to succeed beyond our wildest dreams. So let's celebrate what we've already accomplished, and let's redouble our efforts. Let's create together the future of work. Thank you all for allowing me to spend time with you today. You inspire me. Thank you.
We would like to thank Justina for kicking off the panel. Indeed, lifelong learning is a human gift, a human right, sorry. And indeed, if you educate a woman, you educate a family and a nation. I would like to remind you that if you have any questions, please put them on the chat or the Q&A. And from Uncdf team will be reviewing all the questions and making sure to have at the end 10 minutes for Q&A. I will now start the panel by asking Caroline. IBM, as part of its global commitment to diversity and inclusion, is committed to bridging the gender digital divide. Please share with us the different initiatives and programs that you are leveraging in East Africa to action. You are mute, Caroline.
Yes, I'm on mute. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy to be part of this panel. So thank you, Oriet, for inviting me. So when we think about the focus for IBM in bridging the gender digital divide, it's really been on skill development, as we've had my colleague Justina outline some of the things that we are doing. And on skill development is really the focus has been on new and emerging technologies, what we're calling exponential technologies, whether it's AI, cloud, blockchain, and so forth. And the reason for that is because with COVID, we've seen companies digitally transforming themselves, and there's been a shortage of the skill. And as the youth and women are entering the workforce, then they really need to be prepared for this. So in terms of bridging the divide, it's on digital skills development. And in 2012, and the previous CEO, we launched what we call PTech. It's an innovative education model for diverse and underserved communities. In 2017, we went ahead to launch the Digital National Africa program. And this is really an online learning innovation platform that help address the digital skills shortage among the millennia population in Africa. And 3 years ago, we launched the Skills to Build, Skills Build program that you just had, and targeting, to upskill over 30 million people, I believe 2025. And this is targeting not just students, but also educators, small, medium enterprises, startups, but also folks who are already in employment, reskilling them again with this digital skills. So how have we leveraged this program in East Africa? In Ethiopia alone, we've trained over 2,000 users on this new emerging technology based on the partnerships we've had there. And there's another partnership we just recently launched. And also at a university level, we've trained over 500 faculty members and students as well. In Kenya, over 32,000 users have used our DNA, the Digital Nation Africa program, over 6,000 students at universities and 1,500 faculty. In Tanzania, we've also made some inroads in terms of educating faculty and students as well. So our focus has really been on skill development, and in East Africa, we've really leveraged the IBM investment in this area.
Thank you so much, Caroline. So now we go to Jane, who represents UNCDF, one of our partners in digital skilling in Africa, specifically in East Africa. So Jane, we'd like to ask you now, UNCDF has launched its inclusive digital strategy in 2019. How does this strategy support in bridging the gender digital divide?
Great, thank you, Oriette, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. As I see, we have participants from across the globe, including some in Asia. I'm very delighted to be here. And I'd like to start my remarks with a simple observation. Women are not a demographic. We actually are over half of the world's population. So in an increasingly digital world impacted by COVID, the digital divide is a significant barrier to gender equality. On the other hand, as we know from our work in inclusive digital economies at UNCDF, there is tremendous opportunity to equip young men and women with digital and workforce skills, and those will be key to unleashing new opportunities and jobs in the digital economy, as my colleagues from IBM have mentioned. At UNCDF, we work with a diverse ecosystem of partners, and we're helping to advance gender equality by connecting women to financial services, building digital and financial inclusion and skills, and also, very importantly, supporting women-led MSMEs. And in East and Southern Africa, we are also very excited to be able to bring together policymakers, the private sector, and civil society to actually listen to women's voices so that we really understand the challenges they're facing as well as ongoing forward solutions. And you can see by my colleagues here today, we have a very diverse panel across many different sectors, and you can see the power of partnership and bringing women's voices to the forefront. At UNCDF, we have 2 initiatives that will help to bridge the gender digital divide. The first is Digital Nations Africa, which my colleague Caroline just mentioned, and we launched that partnership 2 weeks ago with the ministry and IBM in Ethiopia by the Minister of ICT and Digital Economy, a woman who hosted the event. And Ethiopia is the first country of implementation, and we will be rolling that out again in Zambia, Rwanda, Uganda, and hopefully other countries. And I think it's very significant that the global launch of the partnership is at this event today. Secondly, next month, we will also be launching a partnership with Women's World Banking to set up a coalition to support women's digital and financial inclusion. And we look very much forward to supporting local members to gain skills, knowledge, and financial resources to support women's digital and financial inclusion.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Sorry, thank you so much, Jane. This is very, very insightful. And we now go to Dr. Abiyot, our second partner in this today, who represents the Ministry of Innovation and Technology in Ethiopia. Please shed some light on the most relevant approaches for men and then to bridge the gender digital divide and the digital literacy for women as key priorities for 2025. You are on mute, Dr. Abiyot.
Good morning and good afternoon. First, I would like to thank IBM and Uncdf for bringing this opportunity. Ethiopia has recently approved a national digital transformation strategy called Digital Ethiopia 2025, and creating an inclusive digital economy is the main purpose of this strategy. And developing the digital skill for the youth as well as for the current workforce is considered as one of the main objectives of this strategy. So we are working to address these digital gap problems in Ethiopia. However, there are a lot of challenges, which include illiteracy. In Ethiopia, the literacy rate is like 51%, and women are 20% more illiterate than men in the nation. There is also a shortage of content, specifically digital content tailored to job market, and as well as there is a shortage of or problem of access to infrastructure throughout the country. So we are working in all fronts from availing access, developing digital content, and creating mechanism to address women's, girls, and the other parts of society. So currently we are working on various projects. One of our projects is DEL, which is a digital learning platform. This platform is open to the public. So our objective is to bring different types of content from different partners and do some localization job, like making the content tailored to the local needs and making it accessible to the users. When we say making accessible, it has two stages. The first one is having the right content. And since there is a big infrastructure problem, we need to devise mechanism so that people will access this content. As you know, in addition to the challenges which are common to all citizens in the country, there are various social and economic problems that are unique to women. As a result, there is a large gap in women and girls in digital adoption in Ethiopia, which is similar to many other developing countries. So to deal with this gender digital divide, we need to consider these special circumstances of women in Ethiopia. So while we're implementing our program, we are considering this factor, such as bringing the content to safer place so that girls can access it easily. We also use young girls as role models because one of the challenges of teaching or giving the skill to young girls is they didn't consider that they will have access to these things, or they do not consider themselves fit to that one. So we bring role models, and then we show them that this is okay. They are able to do to get access to this content. We are also use various civil societies, especially those are working on gender and similar societal problems, and we are trying to use our platform as a mechanism to teach many. As this platform is on the pilot stage, we are collaborating with various stakeholders like schools, universities, and civil society. If anyone interested to work with us, we are open. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abiyot. It's obvious that obvious that the collaborative efforts and strategic partnerships between industry leaders, relevant international organizations, and governments is key to bridging the divide and to an inclusive digital economy. Now we go to Samiya, our young entrepreneur, our millennial, a young entrepreneur. How do you see your role the role of women in tech as role models for young women? Samiya? You are on mute, Samiya. We still can't hear you. You are on mute. So I'll come back to Samiya in the next round of questions. Let's move to back to Caroline. And now you, as an African woman working in the tech sector, leading IBM East Africa, you are yourself a role model for a lot of women. So can you please share with us some insights and signature experiences working in this sector to inspire them and encourage them through their career journey?
Yeah, thank you, Aurelia. So some insights. Most of the time as a woman, you're going to be the only woman in the room. And as a result of that, self-doubt can creep in. But this is something as a woman, and I've observed even with other women in this field, you constantly have to manage. And the way you manage that to pivot from self-doubt to confidence is really continuing to be in this mode of learning to build your confidence. You have to really be good at what you do. I remember when I finished computer science and I got into the workforce, this is advice that someone gave me, that I really needed to focus on being a really good developer, right? And being known for something. And when I think back, that was a building block to my career today. That's how I was able to be involved in teams that were doing my career. Then the other observation in this field is that technology is ever changing. You've seen the pace at which technology has changed. Just when we were learning about AI, then there's, blockchain was introduced. Now we're talking about quantum computing. And now you're hearing about metaverse, which is the 3.0 version of the internet. And the folks that survive in this industry really and succeed is they are easily adaptable to change. And then you constantly have to learn. And that's why, leveraging these programs that we have out there, like Skills to Build,
So I think we have some connectivity problems with Caroline, so I will switch to Jane now, and then we can come back to Caroline when the connectivity is better. Now from a UN perspective, how is UNCDF empowering young women as leaders of change and as the quantifier factor in building the digital economy? You are mute, Jane.
Sorry, and I love the X Factor question, and I'll build on some of the remarks that Caroline shared with us previously. But to start with, I think it's really important that we all understand women and girls really have the potential to be catalysts of change. They're not simply beneficiaries, which sometimes is the language used in development. And I think one of the most important things we can do is to listen to them continuously equality and to work together with them to really try and understand their needs and their experiences. And my colleague Samiya on this panel, I know we're all waiting anxiously to hear from her. I think she's just a personification of the X Factor. She is indeed the founder and the president of the Youth Entrepreneurship Association. The association has over 400 members. I think she's an incredible role model. I heard her speak on the weekend. And also, her association works very closely with Dr. Abiyot at the ministry to help implement the Digital 2025 strategy. So I think we need to accelerate our efforts to empower more young female champions like her and to support them in what they do best. And that is, really amplifying the impact that they're already having in their networks and their communities. And as it relates to the digital economy, developing digital literacy and skills is a crucial foundation, and there's no way we can do this without including women and girls. So with Digital Nation Africa and our partnership, we are helping young women not only to build digital skills, but also soft skills and to align those skills with emerging technologies that Caroline was mentioning. We're also mobilizing, importantly, communities of practice. And those communities will enable our participants to connect with and be mentored by technology leaders at IBM, including female technology leaders. And as we see the colleagues participating here in the event today, I think this is going to be a very, very important positioning for young women in Ethiopia and to really open their eyes to the opportunities and the role models. Finally, I think we also need to tackle social norms and improve the enabling environment for women as leaders of change and decision makers. And in that respect, UNCDF is also delighted, as I mentioned earlier, to announce that our policy accelerator is supporting female leadership in policymaking in Ethiopia through various capacity building initiatives to help women not only gain skills, but also to help them assume decision-making roles.
Thank you, Jane. And indeed, as you said, women are catalysts. They're not just beneficiaries. And we need both men and women to work together hand in hand towards an inclusive digital economy. Thank you so much. You seem to have a lot of programs that can really support this digital economy, inclusive digital economy, where we have women, of course, as the multiplier factor. Now I will move on to Dr. Abiyot. With regards to the Ministry of Innovation and Technology and Dell, how are they implementing or deploying IBM's latest digital skill program to address the digital literacy challenges in Ethiopia?
Okay, thank you. As I explained earlier, one of our challenge is having a digital content that is tailored to a digital job. So the IBM Digital Skill Program specifically will help us to fill this gap. The courses on the IBM's Digital Skill platform is full of recent technologies like artificial intelligence, cloud innovation, and a lot of other recent developments. So it will help us to give the right recent skills to users in Ethiopia. Participants, it will help participants to fill the skill gaps and develop their confidence on recent technologies and knowledge. You know, one of the challenge in technological areas is that if you cannot have access to the recent technologies, always you lose your confidence on technological jobs. So one of the benefits of having the IBM Digital Skill Program is that it will give us access to recent technologies. Trainers and teachers can also use the contents to supplement their classroom and school activities, and especially learners in remote areas can appreciate and understand recent developments and develop their confidence. But as I explained earlier, having the content in the platform is the first step. So we make sure that this platform is accessible, especially to those individuals out of Addis Ababa and in remote areas. So we plan to make sure that this platform is accessible to the youth, especially users out of Addis Ababa. So we plan to use universities, technical and vocational education centers, schools, as well as youth centers out of Addis Ababa. We have already taken steps to partner with 10 institutions working in different parts of the country. The other thing that we are going to do is promotion. We'll promote the availability of the training, and we'll create various avenues to make sure that people get awareness about this platform and how it will help them. We'll also deploy follow-up mechanisms, and based on our progress, we'll make the necessary adjustments. So as per our digital transformation strategy, we need to focus on women's because unless we give equal access to different parts of society, the vision of building an inclusive society cannot be achieved. So we'll follow various gender-sensitive approach to ensure the participation of girls and women. Like first, now we are conducting situation assessments on the crucial problems that hinders women to access this platform. We will also create as role models, as Jenny said. We'll also create champions and the digital champions that will help us to promote girls to participate in this program. We'll also use gender-based civil society, also encourage educational institutions to enroll more girls in raising awareness. So the IBM digital platform will give us a chance to provide recent digital skills, and we'll do the access parts diligently, and hopefully together we'll create a more conducive environment for girls and women to participate in this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Abiyot, and I would like to build on this, that we are now, as part of the global CSR business unit, we don't just have Destination Africa, but we will build on it. We will have skills built for students, built for job seekers. We also have added and augmented the program with university, global university programs. So I'm sure that we can leverage a lot of what we can offer to different personas, starting from 16-year-old students up to job seekers, 30 years of age and above. And we have also colleagues in Africa. Of course, I have to mention my colleague, John Matoko in East Africa, who is working very actively in this. We have been working as colleagues for so many years. I'm sure he will be able to help you going on forward with other initiatives in East Africa and, of course, in Ethiopia. Now, I'm not sure if Samiya is, can answer this question, the coming question, or not. I see Samiya not mute, so can you? Yes. Yeah, so I will ask you the second question now, and then we can go back to the first one. Okay. Of course, you are a young entrepreneur in the millennial, and your story should inspire young girls to pursue careers in tech. So what can you say to these girls as the multiplier factor in building an inclusive digital economy in Ethiopia based on your own experience in Ethiopia?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I would like to say happy International Women's Month, and I would like to say thank you very much again for the opportunity for IBM, Uncdf, and also Ministry of Innovation and Technology. This is Samiya Abdulkadir. I'm 26 years old. I'm a young entrepreneur. I have my own company, which is called MView General Educational Consultancy and Support. I bought this company when I studied my undergraduate chemistry classes, because I had suffering from the practice and digital-based education system in Ethiopia. So as a victim of this poor digital and practical-based education system, I found this educational consultancy company, and I'm running it for 3 years. So through being this experience and entrepreneurship skill, I found this Ethiopian Youth Entrepreneurs Association by collaborating with my young friends who have their own startup companies on different sectors, and they are running in Ethiopia. Now currently the association have more than 400 members from all over Ethiopia, and almost 70% of our members have tech-based companies, and also they have tech-based startups. So on my story or on my journey so far, it's very important and it's very crucial, and we young Ethiopian women specifically need to have a digital skill, because I was suffering from it, and it's very important for, as mentioned before on the speech, Africa is a resource of young peoples, more than 75% of population in Ethiopia as well. Africa is young peoples, but we young peoples have no any access of this due to infrastructure, device, and another issues, because of we are living in developing countries. So it's very important, and on my story too, I had no access of enough knowledge and skill on the regards to digital skills. So it's very important to have entrepreneur and digital skills. And as a woman, it means when we involve women in digital economy, it's very important, because from a lot of different research and findings, women have very critical thinkers, and they are very important for leadership, and it's very important to have a woman in a team by facilitating the workforce environment, and by making awareness for males or their colleagues to work with them for their mistreatments. So it's very important to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Samiya. And now also, just quickly, can you give us just an example of how women can be role models for in the field of tech?
Okay, thank you. For the on the field of tech, it's very important to have men, because they are staying on the schedules, and also they had low project costs, and women are very insightful and very dedicated, and easily it's very important to have a woman in the tech based companies or in tech-based areas, by encouraging women to pursue career, because like IBM project, it's very important to attract women to recruit and develop the skill and experience by the courses, so women can really add value on the tech-based ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you. And to add on this, women should be hand in hand, equally paid and equally hired based on their skills level, as well with men in Ethiopia and in any country in the world. So I would like to thank you so much, Samiya. And now for every panelist, I just have one question at the end, a call to an action, and I would like to start by Caroline. And this question is, from your own perspective, we need one call of action to support women as builders of an inclusive digital economy in Ethiopia and East Africa. So what is your call of action to, could be to industry leaders, it could be to international organizations, it could be to young entrepreneurs, to job seekers, to students. You just, from your own perspective, what kind of call to action would you like to share with us today with our audience?
So for me, the call to action is addressed to the government entities, the government in general, and it's around creating policies that advocate for women to have work-life balance, right? And also that trickles down to the enterprises themselves. When I think about my role at IBM and being a mother, I couldn't do this role if IBM didn't have the policies that they have today, and if I didn't live in an environment in Kenya that also advocates for that. I'll give you an example. I mean, I don't have meetings before 9 a.m. because I have to go drop my son to school, and then I come in and I tell my assistant that my meetings start from 9 to 2:30, and then I have to go pick him up. Then I take a break to take him to bed, and I still am able to perform. But I'm able to do that because I work for a company that has these policies that encourage me to have a work-life balance. Before 9 a.m. when I pick my son, I need to go to the gym because my health is important for me. And so it's for both enterprises and governments to create policies that create a conducive environment for women to have a work-life balance. That way, when we recruit women to get into the tech world, that they don't leave because they have to raise a family, that they can be able to balance that, well, raising the family and also working and becoming executives in this industry.
Thank you, Caroline. This really echoes with me. I'm doing nearly the same things. Walking early in the morning, sometimes go to the gym, take my kids to school, work, then leave them at 3, leave work at 3 to get them back and continue working. So this is exactly what it is about work-life balance and making use of IBM's flexible working hours. So thank you for this. And now to Jane, from your perspective, what kind of call for action would you like to give us today to our diversified audience?
Thanks, Ariette. And actually, I have multiple calls for action, but I'll be brief. Firstly, I think it's really important that we continue to build and scale these types of multi-stakeholder collaboration initiatives. Both you and I know just how much time and effort it goes into building these types of partnerships and bringing together sectors and different ways of working and building the trust and finding a way to really align the value that we all bring to the initiative. So I think, we need to do more of that. Secondly, we need to have more events like this. And I'm so delighted to see the chat and lots of questions going back and forth and people from many different countries, not just Africa. And I think we need to continue to amplify our voices, and having people like Dr. Abiyot on the panel, both women and men together, sharing our perspectives and really ensuring that with the work we do, we are enabling young women to become co-creators, not recipients, not beneficiaries, but co-creators of the digital economy in Ethiopia and indeed across the world and Africa. And then lastly, I'll turn back to our UNCDF initiatives. Two. One, we did, I mentioned obviously the partnership with IBM and UNCDF and the ministry, but that has been launched within the framework of a larger UNCDF initiative called Digital Futures for Africa, where we're bringing together an ecosystem of partners across government, civil society, the private sector. So we would like to invite people to join this partnership, particularly youth and women's organizations and associations, technology associations, ministries of digital economy, youth and women, and also local and international funding partners to really help us realize that initiative. And then lastly, I mentioned the new Women's Digital and Financial Inclusion Coalition and Hub in Ethiopia, and Dr. Abiyot will definitely be in touch with you on that. We'd love to have you as part of that coalition, and I've got colleagues on the call here who can provide further details about that launch and who can participate and the type of activities that we're hoping to get off the ground. So thank you, and finally, just a big congratulations to everybody here today to really make the effort to come together and promote women as builders of digital economies. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. That was very, very insightful, and I'm sure that we will have a lot of partnerships together, not just this one. in East Africa and all over Africa. So we will not just let go of you and of UNCDF. Just work together. And now I will go to Dr. Abiyot, and from your own perspective, what is the call for action that you would like to convey to the audience today?
Okay, thank you very much. My call for action is to all of you, including the participants. As you know, digital transformation is instrumental in building more resilient societies that can contribute to end poverty and exclusions. So digitization and inclusion should go hand in hand. So digitization without inclusion will create bigger gaps than we know at the existing world. So we should consider inclusion in every aspect of our movement. So we need to consider access, literacy, and culture all together. The other thing is creating a just world, creating an inclusive digital society is not an individual task or a company task, or it says only the responsibility of the government. We should work hand in hand so that together we can make a difference. And so in terms of gender divide, it's not in addressing gender inequalities, it's not working for girls or for women. It is working for all of us, for all of us, men and women all together. And also in addressing the challenges, it's not only based on our position. Me as a lead in the digital transformation, I have the responsibility to do these things. But as an individual, I have also responsibility. So it is usually when we make our individual responsibilities with our role that we can make a difference. So I call upon everybody to join us together to make a difference. And finally, I would like to thank all of you, IBM and UNCDF and our team as the Digital Transformation Program Movement for bringing this thing to reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abiyot. This is very, very insightful, and I'm sure we will work together in East Africa and in Ethiopia for a lot of digital scaling initiatives to help in the digital, inclusive digital economy in Ethiopia. One last call for action from our young entrepreneur, Samiya.
Okay, thank you so much. And my call to action is we need to work with the collaboration because as my sister said on the first panelist, and we need to collaborate on and work together because we all have different experience and exposures. We need to involve and work with a private-public partnership with a collaboration to support. Even we are a partner with Mint and we are an implementing partner. As you know that government is mostly working in the policy, making policy and regulating the policy, but most of the time the private sectors, mostly the vibrant youngest like our members, are very ready to work together as on behalf of the association too. We have a lot of youth capitals, and we are not only working with the youth that already have startup companies and entrepreneurs, that we are also working with teenagers from university students and from TVT colleges too. So we need to work together and we need to focus. At the end of the day, we all are here to add value on the users and women. So we need to collaborate and work with CSO organizations that are focusedly working on this area, and we can add value through this digital skill by collaborating with concerned bodies. And thank you for the opportunity again. Thank you.
Thank you, Samiya, for being with us today. I would like to thank all the panelists for all the valuable insights that you have shared. There are so many takeaways here. And indeed, it takes multi-stakeholder partnerships, industry leaders, international organizations, communities, governments, NGOs, individuals all unite together to build an inclusive digital economy where no one is left behind. Now we are past the time. However, I would like to ask if you have 10 minutes of your time, we can take questions because I know that there are so many questions. So please, whoever has 10 more minutes, please stay with us. I hope that the panelists, you have time. If you have time for 10 minutes, please stay with us. And I will now give the floor to Ya to pick from the questions and go ahead with the Q&A session.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Oriet. Yes, we've had a lot of questions coming up. And so I'll quickly look through. A number of them are going for Dr. Abiyot, so I think I'll start with him. Dr. Abiyot, Mula Mebet, I think, wants to know how inclusive the platform is for all women, including women with disabilities and other marginalized groups. Hello, Dr. Abiyot, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for the question. Actually, now we are working on the first part of the platform. Now we make it inclusive in terms of local contents, and also we try to use TVETs and universities to make it accessible to societies out of Addis Ababa. But in terms of disabilities, we'll consider in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abiyot. Okay, so I think this next question would require responses from all the panelists, since you're all from different institutions. So Sandiswe wants to know whether, wants to know how we are going to close the digital divide. Sorry, let me take that again. So she wants to know which stakeholders would be part of this collaborative effort. I think that is clear, but the main one will be that, are there any examples of where such collaborative efforts have yielded tangible gains in closing the digital divide? So I think this one will go to all the panelists. And so I'll start with Jane. Hello, Jane. Okay, let me move to Caroline then.
Sorry. Yes, thanks very much for the question. I think it's really important. I know we're running out of time, so I won't get into detail, but I'm happy to follow up. I have been involved in several different initiatives over the past, I would say, 5-6 years to close the gender digital divide in Africa. And some of these have been led by Equals, the global partnership for bridging the gender digital divide, as well as others. So this is a new initiative and specific to Ethiopia. But the bottom line is we all need to come together. And as I've reinforced in my comments, it's not about us trying to help you. It's about you joining us and putting our hands together to really look at the challenges and then the solutions. Thank you.
Okay, to Caroline now.
The question, yeah.
Okay, so this person wants to know whether there are any examples of these collaborative efforts and the tangible gains that has been, achieved or has been realized from closing the digital divide. So I think from the IBM perspective. Oh, looks like Caroline has to drop off. She sent me a message.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we'll circle back to Dr. Abiyot now for quick comments on that and then move on to the next question.
Yeah, there are a lot of initiatives by various government institutions and development partners. Actually, bridging the digital divide have a lot of dependencies, like literacy, infrastructure, and other many things. So it's like a moving target that when we reach at some level, there will be another miles that you have to go. So there are so many efforts, and but there are a lot of examples, at least that comes around to narrow the digital divide. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abiyot. Looks like you won't take a break. This next question is also coming to you. Mulamabet wants to know, this is Ibrahim. Ibrahim wants to know if there's a framework for conducting a digital skills audit within the Ethiopian context so that you can better understand and cater for the skills demands within the National Digital Transformation Strategy.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Last year, we developed a national skill framework for TVETs and universities. In that framework, we put a guideline on how to develop this digital skill for university and TVET graduates. Now we are working on a framework that will work for users out of school and out of job users. There is also a small guideline which identify the major bottlenecks and the obstacles in building the digital skill in Ethiopia on the Digital Ethiopia 2025 strategy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abiyot. I think one last question we can take from Mulamabet again says, is the platform accessible for youth groups in different brackets like the unemployed, rural urban migrants, and then young women who have returned from the Gulf states?
Which platform are they referring to? Yeah, is it the Destination Africa or the Skills Build?
Yes, the Digital Nations Africa platform.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, I think I can take this one. The Destination Africa is available to anyone in Africa. You just need to have a smart device and internet connection, and that's it. And there's also another mobile app that you can download for the basic digital skilling modules that you can download from the mobile, and you can use it offline without internet connectivity. But it's just the basic technologies. And yes, it is available to anybody in Africa. Also, this would be integrated. The Destination Africa will be now integrated with Skills Build, which we will work on migrating to in the second half of this year.
Doriette, could I just build on that as well? Thank you very much. And from a UNCDF perspective, as we mentioned, the next country where we'll be rolling out the collaboration is Uganda. That's coming shortly. That will be followed by Zambia and Rwanda. In Rwanda, there will be a major focus on the TVET institutions, but we also have the link to Digital Nation Africa on our UNCDF website. So anyone in Africa who's interested can access the link through the UNCDF website.
Yeah, and the UNCDF website is really an easy to navigate website. It's concise and has got a very easy to navigate interface. So I think, we are now over with the questions, right?
Yes. I think we've exhausted all the questions. Just to let panelists know that we've shared the link in the chat messages a couple of times. So I'll share it one more time so that people can access it.
Okay.
So thank you very much for all the questions. We appreciate all the questions that you sent us, and we hope that you've gotten the responses that you were looking for. Over to you, Oriette.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we have now reached the end of the panel. I would like to thank the audience, the organizing team, of course, our panelists, really, it was really very inspiring. I learned a lot from this panel, and finally, of course, I would like to thank Ya and the Shao and all the UNCDF team and MINT team, Ministry of Innovation Technology team behind this panel success. And we prepared together as a team. We delivered it together as a team, one big team, multi-national, multi-company, multi-community team. So on behalf of the IBM team, I hope that you have enjoyed this panel, and I hope that we can make much more panels in East Africa in other countries as well together. And please stay tuned for other coming IBM events in 2022. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you, Oriette. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Bye-bye.